Good afternoon, class. Last time, we discussed about the 8 parts of speech, and the 8 parts of speech includes the noun, the pronoun, the verb, the adverb, the adjective, the conjunctions, the prepositions, and the interjections. So now, since we are done discussing all those 8 parts of speech, then let us have another topic. But before we will proceed to our another topic, let me give you an activity. I call this activity, What Am I? So in this activity, you have to list 3 objects that indicate to the word that is provided. You will be divided into 4 groups, and each group should have a representative to present the list of words you have written. Okay, class, are you now ready? So, here's the thing that you need to do. You have to list 3 things that rings, okay? Then 3 things that runs, and then 3 things that farts. It's funny, right? And then 3 things that barks, and then 3 things that kicks. So you only have 10 minutes to do this, and do this with your group, in a group of 4. So now, if you are done with your group activity, then let us have our topic for today, or our lesson for today's session. So our lesson for today is all about the 5 common types of figurative language. So in this activity, or at the end of the discussion, the students are expected to identify the distinct characteristics of the 5 common types of figurative language, write phrases with appropriate figurative language, and use figurative languages in crafting a meaningful poem. Okay, so now, what is a figurative language? Okay, a figurative language is a way of expressing oneself that does not use a word's strict or realistic meaning, common in comparisons and exaggerations. Figurative language is usually used to add creative flourish to written or spoken language, or explain a complicated idea. Have you ever heard someone talk about butterflies in their stomach? When they're nervous, there aren't actually butterflies inside of their stomach. That would be cruel, right? So they're just using figurative language to describe the uneasy sensation in their body that feels as if a butterfly were moving around inside them. And that's what we call the figurative language. Okay, so now let's if we're going to think about it, figurative language is not easy. It is like moving a mountain, right? So in this topic, we will just discuss the basic types, or the 5 basic types of figurative language. So one of these basic types is simile. So what is simile? A simile compares 2 different things, or 2 different things, using the words like or as to draw attention to the comparison. For example, the very mystery of him excited her curiosity like door that had neither lock nor key. So as what we can observe to the sentence written by the author, the mystery, or the very mystery, or the mystery of him is described to as the door that had neither lock nor a key, using the word like. Okay, in examples 2, he swung a great scimitar, before which Spaniards went down like wheat to the reaper's sickle. So in this example, the author compares the Spaniards to like a wheat to the reaper's sickle, right? Using the word like. Okay, so as we can see in these examples, we can see that simile can be easily noticed and used in a sentence, because it's always compares using like or as. Okay, you have any clarifications? Okay, now so let us proceed to metaphor. So what is a metaphor? A metaphor compares two different things similar to a simile. But the main difference between a simile and a metaphor is that metaphor do not use the words like or as. So just take a look at for these examples. In number 1, the son was a toddler insistently refusing to go to bed. It was past 8:30 and still light. So in these examples, we can see that the author was differentiating or comparing the son to a toddler without using the word like. So you get it. And in number 2, all religions, arts, and sciences are branches of the same tree. So in this sentence, we can see that the all religions, arts, and sciences are compared to as the same tree. So without using the word like or as. So it's that clear. So now let's proceed to personification. Personification is giving human characteristics to non-human or abstract things. It is giving human characteristics to physical attributes. It's like, for example, the eye of the needle. Or emotional attributes, for example, a single lonely shoe. Or human actions, for example, a leaf dancing in the wind. So, just take a look at for these examples written by Emily Dickinson in his book Because I Could Not Stop for Death. Just a simple example. So, because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. So, as what you can see, the thing or the object carriage is given a characteristic, a human characteristic, which is, or a non-human characteristic. So that's it. So in examples 2, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. So in this example, we can see that the author use life or describe life that moves pretty fast. So he had given the life a characteristic which is pretty fast, which is only done by a human or an animal, right? So life is an abstract idea that is given a characteristic which is the word pretty fast. So that's it. So we should always remember that with personification, you emphasize a non-human's characteristics by describing them with human attributes. So that non-human can be an object, an animal, or even an idea or a concept. So now let's move on to hyperbole. The number 4, hyperbole. Hyperbole is a great exaggeration, often unrealistic, to add emphasis to a sentiment. Hyperbole is used especially if you are busy. You might say, I have a million things to do. If you're bored, you might say, I have nothing to do. So neither is actually true, but the phrasing makes the statement more emphatic. So just take a look at in these examples. So number 1, there was no hurry, for there was nowhere to go, nothing to buy, and no money to buy it with, nothing to see outside the boundaries of Maycomb country. So in this sentence, we can see that the author just exaggerate the things to make a more creative and a poetic phrase. So in this sentence, he can say that yes, he is allowed to say, or he can say that I don't want to go to Maycomb country because it's boring. But in this sentence, we can see that the person is just elaborating, exaggerating. That's why we can say that this sentence is a hyperbole. Then number 2, I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? So this sentence is a so in this sentence we can see aggression, right? Aggression. So he can say that he can say that I am mad. I am mad. But to make things more creative and more poetic, he just exaggerate it and make her statement or her statement unrealistic. That's why we called hyperbole. Moreover, hyperbole uses figurative language to make an overstatement or exaggeration. These figures of speech creates emphasis, and depending on the context, you can use it for comic or dramatic effect, to create vivid images, or to convey intensity or emotion. Just like what the examples trying to convey to us. So that's it. So now let's move on to the last basic types, or the last basic type that we will discuss in this lesson. So allusion. What is allusion? An allusion is a reference to a pre-existing person, work, event, or well-known piece of pop culture. It generally relates to common knowledge, so no explanation is necessary. So just take a look at in these examples. The camera has its own kind of consciousness. In the lens, the Garden of Eden itself could or would become ever slightly too perfect. So, no explanation. We can see that the sentence is just so simple, and he uses the word Garden of Eden to emphasize that the camera has a very good quality, right? The Garden of Eden can be referred to as a well-known piece of culture or beliefs. Then, Sam is young and hungry for success. So we can see in this statement, it's just so simple. We all know that if a person is so young, if a person is so young, we can directly say that if the person is young, it is obvious, and it is obvious that the person is hungry for success. That's it. So we should always remember that allusions enable the viewers, to understand new information like characters, plot, and setting by connecting it to something already known. That's it. So, that's it. Any clarifications? Any questions to raise? If you have any questions to raise, then just put it on the comment box and I will answer it for you. So, now just get a 1-up sheet of pad paper and answer this question. Number 1, differentiate the difference between the simile and metaphor. And then number 2, differentiate the difference between personification and hyperbole. And then number 3, give your own understanding or insights about what is allusion. So that's it. So if you are done answering with those questions, just pass it to me in our Google Classroom. So let us have a group activity. So with your group earlier, write at least one example of a figurative sentence in each type of figurative language discussed. Put it in a 1/2 crosswise sheet of pad paper. So you have 15 minutes to do this activity, and your time starts now. Okay, if you're done with this activity, then just pass it to me, and I will be the one who will be checking these your answers. So let us have an assessment. So in this assessment, you have 15 minutes to accomplish this 10 item test. So, direction. Identify what type of figurative language is used in the sentence. Write your answer in a 1/2 crosswise sheet of bad paper. So, number 1, the snow is a white blanket. Number 2, her eyes were diamonds. Number 3, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Number 4, I have told you a million times not to lie. Number 5, the story jumped up off the page. Number 6, the light danced on the surface of the water. 7, he's as sick as a dog. Number 8, that knife is as sharp as a razor. Number 9, I wish I could just click my heels and be back home. And number 10, that was always my Achilles heel. That's it. So if you are done answering those assessment or the assessment that I've given you, then just pass it on our Google Classroom or in our GC. Okay, so you have an assignment. Write a creative poem about your life as a student. So this is so interesting, where the use of figurative language discussed is highlighted. So write your poem in a short size bond paper. It could be handwritten or printed. Then the rubrics is printed. Then the rubrics is can be found in our GC. So that's it for today. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening for our lesson for today's session. God bless all, and thank you.